the Judas Priest.
Are you ready to get your medium shot?
Whiskey woman, don't you know that you are driving me insane? Leaving you kisses your wheels to laugh and gets right to my brain. You try to fight your way through life, try to get to new direction. Another woman's got a plan. She can get you lose infection. Oh yeah. Takes enough, but you ain't got so. Things are better when she's a fool. Take another look around, you're not going anywhere. You realize you're getting old, but no one seems to care. You try to fight your way again, try to get some love. Another woman's got a man. She can get you Takes enough, but you ain't got so. Things are better when she gets through. You man, fool man, with some. I want to know what is the wine. Get up, get out. You know you really feel it. I've had enough. I've had enough. Good God, fuck me. when she was right, and she was she was mine. Changes come over her body. She doesn't suit me anymore. Changes come over her body. She doesn't suit me anymore. Changes.
Hey everybody, it's Friday night, and that was Clockwork Orange with Victim of Changes. It's a favorite here on the show. People love that version of that song. Dave Zook, I believe, is the name of the lead singer, lead guitar player, and that was Rob Zabo on rhythm guitar and Gary Molinar on drums. You know what tonight's show is, but before we get into all of that, we have to do Rob Daniels' favorite part of the show, which is the unboxing. And this is a package from Montreal for you Americans. Let's find out what's inside. Whoa! It's a whole bunch of copies of Polychuck Shadows Exposed. I finally have a physical copy of Polychuck Shadows Exposed. You can only get these through the artist, I believe. But finally, a physical copy. Thank you, my friend. I will be distributing these, well, 9 of them anyway, keeping one. I will be distributing 9 of these to those who need it. I know a few people that I can send these to and maybe get some good reviews going for Polychuck. So thank you, my friend, for sending me these. This is a great EP, by the way. I've reviewed it on my website. You can check it out yourself at mikeladano.com. Polychuck, Shadows Exposed. Parental advisory, explicit content. Yeah, he does say fuck a bit, but we don't care about that. No, we don't care about that. Good. Welcome to the show, everybody. Drink sponsor tonight is Tim Hortons large double. No, sorry, this is a large regular. And for double whammy, this is Coke with coffee dark blend. Oh yeah. So those are the drink sponsors for tonight. We will be talking about this man right here. Let's get better focus. There we go. Alice Cooper. This is one of my prized possessions. This is the 3-issue limited series. Neil Gaiman, The Last Temptation. This came out in 1994 to go with the album of the same title, which was a concept album. Not his first concept album, mind you. So there's that one. And there's that one. And there's that one. And as you can see, that's Neil Gaiman who wrote these. And it does help following the concept of the album to have these. These are first printings, by the way. And I don't know if anybody's picked anything from this album or not. I was listening to it on the way home, which is what gave me the idea. Maybe I should show these off a bit. But I don't know. Basically, the rule tonight is, well, the rule that I've set for myself is I have picked no Alice Cooper singles or no concert staples, meaning a song that's played semi-regularly in concert, or recurringly, perhaps, might be the better word. Harrison, I believe, is going for only songs that have never been played in concert, if I am not mistaken. You know, maybe we should just ask him. Why don't we bring on Harrison?
Hello.
How are
Hooray.
you?
Let the show begin. I've been ready.
You were waiting with that one.
I was.
Oh, that's great. Did I get your rule correctly?
Not exactly. It is very difficult to find out whether something's been played live or not for Alice, because he plays just about everything live at least once, give or take a few things. So basically, if it hasn't appeared on a live album and it's not a single and it's not a cover, it's eligible.
I have one song that might have to be disqualified. I didn't do my research and check the live albums. We'll get there.
Your rules are your rules and my rules are my rules.
Yeah, but you're the co-host. You can disqualify the other co-host.
I need
you have that access. I've given you that level of access.
Yes. Well, luckily I can't seem to find the disqualify button.
That's funny. All right. Well, I'm going to play the theme song. We're going to get the show on the road, and then we're going to bring on our very special guest tonight. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's rock and roll this train.
One-way ticket to anywhere and a glazed donut to go. The brain train. The brain train. All aboard.
And now that that's out of the way, please, let's bring on our special guest.
The Brain Train is proud to present Marco the Contrarian.
Hey!
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for the introduction.
Well, that's all from our buddy T-Bone. I love your backdrop tonight. That's great.
Thank you. I love your shirt. You're looking very sharp tonight.
Thank you. I don't think you and Harrison have ever been on live before, have you?
No, we
Yeah,
did
were
Tony
on
Martin.
Oh, no, but Marco wasn't live for Tony Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think you were on for the New Year's Eve special.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah,
Probably.
I was on there for like an hour, I think.
That's true. Yeah. So what have you been up to lately?
Not much. Just lots of Contrarian stuff. Like we have
Yeah.
so much. We've got lots of stuff in the can. Like
You are busy.
Yeah, the stuff that you're seeing. Actually, there's an episode going up tonight. Like that was filmed like weeks ago. So like we've got lots of stuff in the can. So we're just trying to catch up with that stuff.
It's there's been some pretty epic stuff lately, and my our mutual friend Tim Derling has been on a couple great episodes recently too.
Absolutely.
Can't resist plugging his great book, the 8-track. There it is, right there.
Yeah,
Unspooled.
I got mine right here. I don't know if it'll show with the blurred background or not, but
You can see the 8-track tape.
it's there. There you go.
So, just a few moments before we started, we were discussing rules that we've made for ourselves. And like I said, my personal rule is no singles and no live staples, which is somewhat subjective, but, we have an open panel here. Did you make any rules for yourself?
No, I did see something from you about not picking singles or music videos or something like this. I left a song off my list, or maybe as an honorable mention. To me, it wasn't really. I didn't know there was a single of it.
Okay.
And when I heard the album, that was one of the songs I gravitated to initially, my initial listens to the album. But I grew up, I'm a little bit younger, so like I wasn't aware that this song was a single until I looked it up after I read. I think you posted something about not picking singles.
Yes.
And then I looked it up and it happened to be a single. I was like, oh, well, it's not. I'm going to leave it off my list. There's a couple of songs on my list that were not singles from the original Alice Cooper band, but you might have a bone to pick with two of the songs that I picked. I'm not sure
that's
yet.
the great thing about having like runners up, so that you can always just substitute one in.
Yeah, and those the two that I picked, like I looked into on Discogs for Alice Cooper band stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of singles.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's $1 Billion Babies, and there's like I think there was 6 listed on Discogs. I don't know if that's the be all end all, for factual based things about singles and this and that, but they're usually I usually use Discogs for a lot of my information, and there was only 6 singles listed when I looked it up, anyways. Unless I wasn't looking in the right spot.
Well,
for Alice Cooper band.
Right. I will plug a buddy of mine right now, Mr. Dale Sherman, who you probably know from his excellent Kiss book, Black Diamond, and the sequel Black Diamond 2. He also did an excellent Alice Cooper book that covered all of the singles. And unfortunately, I don't have it handy with me, but that would have been my Bible for looking up anything Cooper related. So Dale Sherman's Alice Cooper book, go find it.
You know Dale Sherman?
I know him on Facebook. Yes.
That's awesome. I love Black Diamond too.
It's so good.
I got into a lot of music because of that book, like Roy Wood, Wizard, stuff like that. So.
I have a number of his books. He did one on the movies of Mel Brooks.
Cool.
And I think he's got a new one coming out about, if you're a movie buff, and I know you are, if you're into movies that involve the U.S. presidency, he's doing a book about all the major movies about the U.S. presidency, stuff
Nice.
like Air Force One or whatever,
Cool.
Yeah. So there's my plug for Dale. Well, let's get the list started. We'll do the traditional Nigel Tufnell top 10, because we are doing a full 11 tonight. And then Harrison, you can kick us off with your number 11.
Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. Oh, these ones go up to 11. Nigel Tufnell. The top 10. Nigel Tufnell. Nigel Tufnell.
Okay, Harrison, kick it off.
All right. Before I kick us off with my 11, I will give you an 11 from Holland.
That's right. I forgot we had a bonus list.
So, in no particular order, we have Scarlet and Sheba, Formerly Warmer, Fresh Blood, Lock Me Up, Roses on White Lace, Time to Kill, Crazy Little Child, Dyslexia, Sick Things, Blue Turk, and Pass the Gun Around.
You're seeing my reaction.
Yeah, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I think we'll have.
Okay, that's great. I love it. I love his list. I love his list. Blue Turk, man. Okay, go Harrison, go.
All right, so it should come as no surprise that a song from Flush. Oh yeah, I only did one per album, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did as well.
So yeah, it should come as no surprise that a song from Flush the Fashion is making the list. And the one I've picked is Aspirin Damage. You know, I love the new wave direction that Cooper took on that album. And Aspirin Damage just has the most fist pumper of a riff to go with it as well. And then the icing on the cake for me is that that synth fill that pops up sometimes after the chorus. That just really hits the spot. So short, sweet.
Good one.
And yeah, it could have been any of the songs from Flush the Fashion that aren't the singles, or or the cover. But it was hard to pick, but I went with Aspirin Damage.
Good pick. You know that I don't agree with you on most of that album, but I won't start a fight this early in the show.
You like the two songs that I don't like.
That's true. All right, Marco, up to bat.
Well, that Flush the Fashion's one of my favorite Alice Cooper albums. I think I like every song on it.
I'm outnumbered tonight.
And I mostly went with one song per album, except I think I didn't go with more than two songs from an album for sure. So I think two albums pop up twice, but only twice. And I don't have anything current. I tried to listen to some current stuff, see if I can come up with anything, but I don't think I have anything past Constrictor or Razor Fist and Yelling, I think. But my number 11 is Guilty from Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And I did little notes for each of the songs, but I love the breakdown before the chorus. If you call me guilty, then that's what or if you call it guilty, then that's what I am. It's got a cool energy to it, and it fits with Alice Cooper a lot. And it's just got a really good production on it. And I like that song a lot from that album.
I played that album yesterday. I've been playing almost all his studio albums during the course of this week, and I just played that one yesterday, and I love that album.
I like how Guilty changes up towards the finale and gets a bit faster.
Yeah.
As well.
And I love the lyrics. He's always singing about the new generation and all that stuff, and even today he still is. Well, Marco inspired my number 11. I decided to put on the list because I wanted to put a spotlight on an album that I really like a lot that he listened to this week and didn't appreciate as much as I tend to do. That's from Welcome to My Nightmare, the second one. And I picked The Last Man on Earth, the kind of Tom Waitsy one, The Last Man on Earth. It sounds like the 1930s. What I wrote was that I felt it was an album highlight, Tom Waits sounding song, funny both lyrically and musically, but also musically accomplished. Not too many artists could pull off a song that sounds straight out of the 30s like this. And I also noted that I loved the way his voice sounds when he says, "Am I a beggar or a king?" Loved his delivery. That song was based on the old Twilight Zone episode with Burgess Meredith, the man who just wanted to be alone to read books. And there's a nuclear holocaust and the world is annihilated. He's the last man on Earth and he's got all the books in the world to read. And then I can identify with the next part. His glasses fall and break and he can't read. So it's a be careful what you wish for kind of situation. But, hello, Metal Guru. He's a huge Alice fan, and Marco needs to grab the current Cooper platters. He won't be disappointed. I hopefully
more than he already is.
Anyway, sorry for rambling on. I really love the Welcome To album. I played it today, and with all the bonus tracks, which added up to 1 hour and 45 minutes. And I love it, Marco. It's absolutely still a delight to. I love the goofiness and the diversity of that album. So I ask you, when you have time from your very busy schedule, maybe just give it a second listen with an ear towards what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just find with like the newer stuff past the early 90s is when Alice Cooper albums start to kind of just feel like I put them on and then they go through and then they end, and I don't really gravitate. There's not much that really hooks me, I guess. But to be honest and to be fair, I haven't listened to them a heck of a lot. So probably if I spend a lot more time with them, like the production's good. There's some heavy stuff on that stuff. There's still some unique things and kind of fun things that Alice Cooper does, like on Welcome Number 2, My Nightmare. But just nothing really hooks me the way earlier. So Alice Cooper band stuff is usually my favorite stuff. But.
Well, I guarantee you we're going to be hearing some Alice Cooper band stuff tonight. But yeah. Well, thanks, Marco. I appreciate that. But I will pass it over to Harrison now for number 10.
Yeah, some of the Welcome To stuff also appears on the Wacken live album, and you might prefer those versions as well. Some of the better songs on there too. Welcome To also gave 2 honorable mentions of mine, but it doesn't appear on my list. But for number 10, we've already heard this one twice because LeBrain also said it, even though it's late. It's Blue Turk. Yes, it's this really jazzy as heck song.
Love it.
Lovely horns. And Alice Cooper just channels his inner Neil Diamond big time. Like with the singing, he sounds exactly like Neil Diamond. And, you know, like I don't usually put on Neil Diamond, but if I'm listening to a jazzy song by Alice Cooper, why not? Throw some Neil Diamond on there as well.
Cooper has such a versatile voice. And this is really obvious on an album like Welcome To My Nightmare, where it's so diverse. Like he's doing, you know, that disco boogie fever, you know, and he's doing The Last Man on Earth, and he's got so many different voices. And yeah, so
he's a performer.
Shout out to him for using that voice so effectively, because it's not a classical singing voice, you know. If you lined up your top 5 favorite vocalists, normally you go for like the Dios and the Dickinsons and stuff like that, but Cooper doesn't make very many lists, although I think he deserves to be on them. Anyway,
yeah, he's not technically like a virtuoso or like a technical singer or whatever, but I mean, just the confidence that he has to pull off something like Ballad of Dwight Fry, like the confidence to do something like that says a lot. And he is a performer, and I appreciate a lot of his vocal performances, and he does have quite a bit of a range.
Did you ever hear this? Oh, sorry.
His voice has aged fairly well, considering that, you know, most people's voices go gravelly, and at least that gravelly style sort of matches sort of the existing style he had.
I was going to ask you, Marco, if you knew the story about how they recorded that "I got to get out of here" part.
No, fill me in.
They built they got a whole bunch of chairs and a table and a bunch of stuff, and they kind of built like a little cell for Alice to be in. So he's actually in this little enclosure of chairs and tables going, "I've got to get out of here." And you know, it sounds legit, you know? And to Metal Guru, keep on commenting, man. Keep them coming. All right.
Not the last time I think we'll hear of Blue Turk.
No, absolutely not. But over to you, Marco.
So my number 10 is from Constrictor. I think this might be the newest song I have on my list. Throw My Gorilla.
Interesting.
I like it. It's a short song. It's got cool Kane guitar on it. And I believe Kip Winger's on that, right?
I think you can really hear him on that chorus.
The backing gang vocals on the chorus.
Yeah, that echoey part.
It's just a funny, goofy kind of lyric, but it's also kind of like up tempo and kind of heavy. Like I like the guitars on it. It's just a fun, good, kind of obscure song.
I'm
glad
glad
you picked it. And it's short too. I think it's only like 2.5 minutes or something.
Yeah, it is a fun one.
Good driving song.
It is a fun one. Spoiler alert: I didn't pick anything from Constrictor, but I'm glad we might get like almost every Alice album represented here. You never know. I did cheat for my number 10, and I couldn't decide between 2 songs. So from the Hey Stupid era, I picked 2, and I call it a tie. I picked It Rained All Night, which was a B-side to the single Hey Stupid, and I picked Might As Well Be on Mars, which I believe was the side 1 closer. As for It Rained All Night, I love that groove. Boo doo 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 doo, boo doo, boo doo doo doo. I don't know what you call that, but it's great. I love that groove, and it's kind of like nocturnal. And then Might As Well Be on Mars is just like big. It is epic. It's got the string section. It's got that huge chorus. And I love them both. They're both very different from each other, but I think they have a certain kind of slick quality, especially insofar as the production. That was a very, very produced album, the Hey Stupid album. But I did want to get a B-side out there on my list. And as far as Alice's B-sides go, I think It Rained All Night is tops. So that's my number 10. Over to you, Harrison.
Yeah, and what you said about us probably maybe getting every Alice Cooper album, we might not get much similarity in our song picks, because I have a Hey Stupid song, but it's not either of those.
Interesting.
But right now for my number 9, I did say I wouldn't pick any song that's appeared on a live album. However, there is one song in the entire Alice Cooper live album, I guess you'd call it lineup, that is excluded by this rule. Do you know which one it is?
No.
It is from A Fistful of Alice, Is Anyone Home? Because it's
good. Yeah. Oh, I love that song.
It's just a really fun little acoustic number to end the album, and it's not like deathly boring because it's got like this energy to it as well. The strings that pop up are a nice touch.
The acoustic.
I just like ending this, one of Alice's best live albums with, like just a fun little, at the time, really just a throwaway song, but it's still a worthy member of the discography, I think, and I like ending the album on it. I also like the I believe it's Spanish.
The intro, the
radio
intro. Yeah,
and the intro. It sort of like separates it and sets it up nicely.
I'm going to share a quick story with you about that song. There was a large gap between Alice albums after Last Temptation. There was the Fistful of Alice live album, and there was the Life and Crimes of Alice box set. But the next studio album didn't come until 2000 or 2001 with Brutal Planet. So I really dug that sort of poppy acoustic, almost like a Beatles-y quality to Is Anyone Home? And then he went completely the opposite direction on Brutal Planet. I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. An album of this sort of style song might not be, the best Alice album, but just one song here and there, I definitely like it.
Kicking myself for not picking it. The great pick, Harrison. Absolutely. I love surprises, and you got me there. I didn't even listen to that album. I didn't think of listening to that album. You got me. Okay, Marco, up to you to top that.
All right, number 9. This one easily could have been a little bit higher. I like all these songs. I mean, like I could probably rearrange a few of them. Make That Money, Scrooge's song from Zipper Catches Skin. This one is quite heavy. It's got a harsh vocal on the chorus. It has this, I don't know if we're allowed to swear, this badass guitar riff on it. It's got a classic sounding Alice Cooper song in the middle of the Blackout albums. Again, it's got a cool soloing on it, progresses to kind of like a crescendo thing near the end, and it's just a great heavy tune in the middle of those Blackout albums. Make That Money, Scrooge's song. That's one that like I send to people, like check out this song from this era, like
wicked pick.
Like I have a friend who likes Alice Cooper, but he's not familiar with all the stuff through the 80s and stuff like this. So I've sent him that one.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Zipper Catches Skin was the very last studio album I needed to finish my collection. So it's actually the one I'm the least familiar with. So I am going to re-listen to that one tomorrow.
Listen to that song. It's heavy.
I will. That's awesome. I'm loving everything so far. Okay, my next pick, I went right back. Are you guys hearing all those birds?
I heard something, yeah.
I went right back to not his debut, but certainly his major label debut, Long Way to Go from Love It to Death. It's just a total rave up of a song. It's a rave. Pedal to the metal, no letting up. It's almost kind of proto-punkish in a way, kind of like an MC5. I love that song. It just kicks, and it's over and out in like 2 minutes. And it's also one of the few songs where, well, not few songs. It's one of the songs where he references Alice as well. Alice is speaking. Long Way to Go. Love that song. Love that album. And I don't know why that song it should be a concert staple. It would be a wicked song to like play between two hits, you know? Anyway, long way to go from Love It to Death.
I love that whole album. That's my favorite album from the original band.
Man, I couldn't pick a favorite, but well, no, I can pick a favorite, but we'll get there. That would be my number. I have a favorite, and then all the rest are tied for second place.
Well, you can never say never when it comes to Alice Cooper and playing songs live, because the man has, every time he goes on tour, there's some obscure thing usually dredged up from somewhere. Like in 2005, they played "Who Do You Think We Are" a couple times.
Nice.
Off Special Forces.
That almost
Chinese
made
guy.
my list. That one almost made my list.
Yeah.
That was a single, so I believe. Actually, no, it appeared on the live album.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
I
that
can't
one was a
remember.
single, but to me, that
think
was
it was
one
a
of the
single.
songs. Yeah, it's one of the songs I think of when I think of Special Forces. That's why I
Yeah,
left
me
it
too.
off. But it's
Yeah.
one of my favorites from that.
Yeah,
that
well,
album.
Special Forces is my favorite album, so we'll get there.
Nice.
I
But-
listened to that one this week too.
Yeah, but we're on number 9 at the moment, and
Yes.
8.
No, 8. Yeah, 8.
Yes, sorry. Dragon Town is very dense, very heavy slab, and there's not much differentiation between the songs. So the best way to experience Dragon Town is sort of to listen to one or two songs, because once you heard that, you pretty much heard it all. And so my favorite song off Dragon Town is Trigger Man. It's got that heavy and industrial sort of feel for the verses, but I like that it opens up a bit and gets a bit more, I guess, floaty for the chorus. It's not as mired in all that heaviness. Alice goes for a bit, like he used to in the past. And I like the contrast between the verse and the chorus. I think, it's one of the better ones on Dragon Town.
Now that's an album that I didn't get around to listening to this week, so I will have to revisit that one. I remember liking Trigger Man of the songs on that album. I remember liking Trigger Man. So, and there was another tune that's kind of like almost Elvis-y, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's like this ode to Elvis or something. That's a decent
which
one.
maybe
It's
Mark would check out Dragon Town.
Disgraceland.
Disgraceland.
is what
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
called.
Awesome.
Love Elvis.
All right, Marco, you're up.
All right, number 8. We heard this one on the list of the individual who's not here.
Holland.
Pass the Gun Around from Dada.
Hmm.
I like the arrangement and the orchestration on it. I like the mellow guitar licks. I'm a fan of Alice Cooper ballads, especially when they have a bit of a dark edge to it. And this one has cool harmonies, cool vocals. I just really like that song, Pass the Gun Around. That's a favorite of mine from that album.
That's an album that I didn't appreciate until more recently.
It's great. It's
Yeah.
got some good stuff on it.
And as far as the concept goes, it's creepy. That's a creepy album.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. My number 8. This is a song that was also on Holland's list and is also from Dada.
Yeah, Holland seems to like Dada. He's got a couple picks off there.
Oh, interesting. Formerly Warmer. That's a great kind of pun on the name there. I wrote just haunting, scary haunting if it wasn't so tender sounding. It's kind of the hidden twin in the attic story. I love the phrase misconceived of the family. And that album to me sounds like it was largely a Bob Ezrin construction. It just strikes me as very Ezrin. Even the piano in Formerly Warmer. It's a classic Alice Cooper sound, but that classic Alice Cooper sound comes from Bob Ezrin playing the piano on those albums. And that just strikes me as a Bob Ezrin album, and it's grown on me over the years. I don't know what else to say about it because I think we'll probably hear more. But I, at one point, gave Dada a 1 out of 5 star rating. And I have to admit, I think I was slightly influenced in that by a book called Riff Kills Man by a mutual friend of ours named Martin Popoff. And Martin Popoff does not rate most of those Blackout albums very well in that book. So I think I might have been slightly influenced by Martin because I know between a lot of my friends, we loved when he just went savage in Riff Kills Man, which he does on a number of reviews.
I don't like it.
You don't like that?
It's usually aimed at Blaze.
Oh, well, anyway, there you go. Coked out Bob Ezrin. That's right. That was Elder era Bob Ezrin. Anyway, I've said enough. So that's my number 8, Dada. Over to you, Harrison.
We've got the second of two that I share with Holden, and that is Roses on White Lace. And after the Blackout era, Alice seemed to take a definite step towards more pure heavy metal, getting a lot heavier and stuff. And Roses on White Lace is metal as heck. But it still has some keyboards in there as well, which I like, just sitting in there. They don't overpower it, but they complement it. And Kane Roberts' guitar and solo and his guitar work is, pretty damn metal.
He's underrated. I think he always felt that he was, back then, he always felt that his guitar playing was overshadowed by his physique, which is why he no longer has that physique. He's like, I don't want to be overshadowed by that. So
yeah. It's got one of those loud, bombastic Cooper chorus harmonies as well, as he's fond of. And there's a reason it's appeared on 2 lists so far.
Excellent.
That was from
Raise Your Fist and Yell.
Yeah. I get Raise Your Fist and Yell and Constrictor confused a lot because the covers are similar colors.
They're a pair. A lot of Alice's albums tend to come in pairs. There's
I like
that
the
pair.
Constrictor. The Constrictor album cover is awesome.
It was one of those things where it was like, wow, that's the kind of album cover that my mother will not buy me for Christmas. We have a comment here from Uncle Meat. Hey there, Cooper men. So if Special Forces is Kopp's favorite Alice album, what are LeBrain and Marco's favorite Cooper album? And what are each of your least favorite albums? Do we want to do that? Let's answer that question now. My least favorite is probably either Easy Action or Pretties for You. Those albums they're really hard to get into. And my favorite is Welcome to My Nightmare.
Nice.
Can you think on your feet like that?
Yeah, I'm actually right along with you. Those first 2 albums, I've listened to them, and I've just never been able to get into them. Every once in a while, I'll try to listen to them again. I think I like Easy Action a little bit better because I think the songs are structured a little bit better, and there's a little bit of Beatlesque type stuff on there, lots of psychedelic stuff. Yeah. But those are probably the hardest for me to get into. There's some newer stuff I'm not as familiar with, so it wouldn't be fair to me to pick any of those. But my favorites would be Alice Cooper Band, would be Love It to Death, and favorite Alice Cooper solo stuff would probably be Flush the Fashion. But I'm a pretty big fan of that whole era. And
to further elaborate, my favorite Alice Cooper Band would be School's Out. Actually, those two, they shuffle between 1 and 2. It's basically a tie.
Interesting.
It's really difficult for me to pick a least favorite because there are some albums that I haven't spent enough time with.
Right.
So I'm just going to go off sort of based on my show prep. This album was sandwiched between a lot of albums that were putting 1, 2, maybe even 3 candidates for this list. But this album had no candidates whatsoever, and that's The Eyes of Alice Cooper.
Yeah, okay.
It was an outlier in basically an era which was constantly providing me with material for this list. So I guess I'll say that based on that.
Yeah, I hear you there. Where were we? Were we on Marco's number 8?
I think number 7.
He's 7. I just finished Roses on White Lace.
We're on Marco though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
This song already came up. I think on Harrison's list. I think this was your number 11, Aspirin Damage from Flush the Fashion. And I could switch this out with Nuclear Infected or something like that. There's a lot of songs, that I like from Flush the Fashion. For this one, I love the production. One thing about Alice Cooper albums is I'm always usually a fan of the production. Even from something like From the Inside, I didn't pick any songs from the Inside, but I like the production on From the Inside. And even the earlier stuff like Killer and Love It to Death, I love the raw kind of gritty production on those albums. But I really like the production on Flush the Fashion. This song is one of them. I like the crunchy guitar and the 80s kind of synth in the background. It's upbeat, mid-tempo song on an album of upbeat, kind of high mid-tempo songs. It has kind of a Broadway-style chorus. And again, this is another song with a bit of dark humor in it. And I like the hook on the chorus. So Aspirin Damage is my number 7.
It's funny that that's the first mention of Broadway, which is such a huge influence on Alice. Huge. And I think stuff like Blue Turk has some of that in there too. But, that's a good pick, Marco.
Thank you.
Mine is from Muscle of Love, which I think is kind of a hidden gem of an album. I picked Man with the Golden Gun. I'm kind of a sucker for that Bond theme. It was written for consideration to be included in a Bond film, but it definitely has a bit of that Bond brass. I don't know if it's good enough to be an actual Bond theme, but it's fun. It's plenty fun. And I think Muscle of Love just deserves a little more love itself. There's some great stuff on there. The other song I would have picked from that album would have been Big Apple Dreamin', the opening track. It's got a neat kind of laid back guitar riff. And I think that album deserves a little bit more love. People really only kind of know it for the title track and Teenage Lament 74. So, yeah. All right, Harrison, over to you.
All right, Marco's already mentioned this one. It is Make That Money, Scrooge's song.
Wow.
Solid beat, solid riff to go with it. And I love the Maiden, it's not a Maiden trademark, but the guitar harmony. It makes me think of Maiden, I really like the guitar harmonies. Alice Cooper does not do them very often. So to have one in here is a rare treat. And I like the very metal-y finish with basically the guitar frenzy solo at the end. And like Marco mentioned, it's a more classic Cooper song in that Blackout era, but it also has shades of that sort of heavy metal he'd go into after the Blackout era.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's an interesting song. Yeah, absolutely. Almost sounds like it doesn't belong.
Can't believe you guys have both picked this. I got to listen to it tomorrow. Harrison, the only other song that comes to my mind immediately with a dual guitar part is From the Inside. That's the only
there
one
is
I can think of.
Another song with dual guitars on my list, but it's not a harmony.
Okay. All right, Marco, then that means you're up.
This is my number 6. So This one is an Alice Cooper band song I picked, and this one has been played live, and it was I've heard a live version of it. I don't know if it was a bootleg or from an officially released live album, but yeah from Killer.
Oh, such a good song.
Yeah, it's classic Alice Cooper. I love the vocal performance, the gritty vocals on the chorus, cool grungy type chugging guitars. My favorite Alice Cooper is this style of song. Alice is kind of singing along with the melody, but I like it. Ozzy does
it's
a lot
loose.
of that too.
It's loose, Oh,
yeah.
Love that song.
The drums are very jammy. The whole song is kind of jammy. There's harmonica on it. It sounds like the kind of thing like if you were in the rehearsal room with them while they were like working the song out, it probably would have just been seeming with like energy. It would have been just like
Especially
an amazing
that
experience.
Vocal. Yeah. Love that vocal. Yeah.
Those are my favorite types of songs. And that's probably maybe not super obscure if you're an Alice Cooper fan, but it's not a single.
Yeah.
So that's the rule I went with. As long as it wasn't a single, it would be on my list. So yeah, they've played it live, but
it's definitely not a concert staple. Definitely not. Should be. It's a great tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like the song you picked, like Long Way
to Go. Yeah.
Long Way to Go is one of those kind of songs. Like yeah.
It has a certain kind of almost punky attitude, looseness to it. All right. So for my number 6, is that what we said? Yeah. This is my newest song on my list, and it's Paranormal from the album Paranormal, which almost reconsidered because it's the opening track. So, not exactly a deep cut when it's the opening track. So if that disqualifies me, then I would pick Fireball. But I think Paranormal is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the last really good Cooper album that I loved. Detroit Stories hasn't appealed to me particularly.
It doesn't feel like an Alice Cooper album as much.
No, I know it doesn't. I know it's supposed to evoke that early Alice Cooper sound, but it's too Detroit rock and roll traditional to evoke that sound. Paranormal though is very Alice. It's a very Alice album. And I think that's another one of his Ezrin collaborations as well. But yeah, I love that album. I think the opening track is fantastic. To me, it's almost like Welcome to My Nightmare Part 3. But what is that? When did Paranormal come out? Like 2017?
18, I think.
18. So that's my most recent one. Spoiler. Yeah. Over to you, Harrison.
Okay, continuing on then with number 5.
Number 5.
From Killer, You Drive Me Nervous.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's an up-tempo song with sick dual guitars, and that's a winning combo for me, and that's good enough.
That is a killer song. That is such a good album. See, this is why I couldn't pick any songs, spoiler, from Killers, because there's so many songs on there that are like staples to me. Oh, that's a good one, Harrison. Over to you, Marco.
Yeah, exactly. And I know how you feel. It's like some of these songs, like yeah. To me, sounds like is the type of Alice Cooper song that's not very obscure, but like I said, it wasn't a single, so that's why I picked that one. My number 5 is coming from that era of albums. It may not be super obscure, but I really like the song "Second Coming" from Love It to Death. So I picked I picked only 2 songs from the original Alice Cooper band, and this is another one, and I really like this one because it's kind of like proto metal almost.
Mm-hmm.
The composition wise and lyrical theme wise, even though it's kind of a mellow song and has piano in it, but it's still really heavy, really cool, really edgy. I like the soloing in it, and I like the vocals on the song, and I love how it transitions into "Ballad of Dwight Fry," which is one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs ever, off my favorite Alice Cooper album. So it's just a great tune.
I love Dwight Fry.
Back when we did the first ballads list, it was my number 2 pick.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, I guess it's up to me now. I went for a really obscure one. And, order on my list is not quite that important because, these songs are all so good and so important to me. I went with an oddball track. I went with Identity Crises from the Monster Dog soundtrack, but I first heard it on the Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper box set. And it's kind of like it's very lo-fi. Like, I don't think Alice had much label support at that time. It was right after Dada and before he got clean. So it's in that black era between, there's a 3-year period between Dada and Constrictor. And it falls in somewhere in there. And it's like an Iggy Pop kind of delivery. And it's a weird, laid-back garage rock tune. But it's cool. It has vibe. And I like the phrase identity crises. Alice always puts a little twist just to make everything just a little bit funny. He is one of the few artists that really works well with humor in heavy metal and rock. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of like a lot of comedic rock, but when Alice does it, it's not so much it's comedy, it's twisted, Love Alice when he does the twist, and Identity Crisis has a little bit of that in it. So check that one out on the Life and Crimes box set. All right, that's my number 5.
All right then. So I mentioned we'd be going to Hey Stupid, and here we are. And it is Dangerous Tonight.
Okay.
Which is another insanely metal one. This time the guitarist is Steph Burns, but he does just as metal a solo as Kane Roberts on my previous pick. This one's got a bit more keys with it as well, and it's got a really epic chorus, and I like how the verses sort of are a little laid back so that they can ramp up for the chorus and have that contrast then, so it's not just all like in your face or all just boring falling asleep. So it's a well-constructed song, one of my favorites on Hey Stupid. And
I support you. That's a good song. Excellent pick. And I love that the 90s are getting some love. All right, Marco, over to you.
All right. I actually, I misspoke. I do have another song from the original Alice Cooper band, and this one is from Muscle of Love, which I agree with you completely. This is a very underrated album. I actually like it better than School's Out. And definitely the first 2 albums, but I think I like $1 Billion Babies and Killer and Love It to Death a little bit more.
Okay.
But Muscle of Love I definitely like a lot, and I have Hard Hearted Alice from Muscle of Love.
Such a good song.
It's such a good song, and it kind of sounds like a knockoff of Planet Caravan when it starts by Black Sabbath, but I love that song too. So to me, it's like it's like a double winner, right? But I love how it's mellow and trippy. Again, I'm a fan of like the Alice Cooper mellow songs. and ballads, kind of, because he doesn't do like traditional. He usually doesn't do traditional like love song ballads. But I like this one. Basically, it picks up. It does rock in some parts, and there's again cool vocals, cool lyrics. The solo is really cool. There's a cool jazzy breakdown thing during the solo. So Hard-Hearted Alice, I like a lot from Muscle
That
of
is
Love.
a good song.
Yeah.
I know they performed it live on that tour, or at least I think they did. There's a great book that if you ever find it, it's hard to find, but I believe it's called $1 Billion Baby by Bob Greene. And he was a journalist that was invited into the studio during the recording of Muscle of Love and invited onto the tour for Muscle of Love. And so he documented all that stuff. And it, as you know, that's the end of the Alice Cooper band. So he documented all of the fallings apart. Excellent book if you can find it. I don't know where my copy is, unfortunately. It's in storage. Anyway, that's a great pick, Marco.
Thank you.
All right. My next pick is a song that definitely was played live because I saw it live on the Dirty Diamonds tour. And it's my favorite song from Dirty Diamonds, which is Sunset Babies All Got Rabies. It is just fun. Has a classic rock and roll sound. That riff is very, very classic.
The entire Dirty Diamonds has a very classic rock and roll sound.
I think Dirty Diamonds succeeded where Eyes of Alice Cooper just failed to click with me. I just find Sunset Babies to be classic sounding. Like, I know that he keeps trying to like go back to that era, like he did with Detroit Stories. You know, I want to sound like the classic Alice Cooper band, but Sunset Babies just actually does it. I think it could have been on an album like $1 Billion Babies. I almost disqualified myself for picking a song that I saw live, but damn it, Dirty Diamonds is a good album, and it's lost in the shuffle. It's between other albums that seem to be, I don't know, it's just lost in the shuffle. You don't ever hear anybody talk about Dirty Diamonds. It's a good album.
Don't worry, we'll get to it again today.
And we have
Tonight.
somebody else here with $1 Billion Baby, the book. I Don't Know Me, Alice. I don't know that one. I do have the other Alice Cooper book, the golf one, whatever it's called. he's such a entertaining guy. You know, I don't care about golf at all, and I bought his golf book, and I was entertained thoroughly. Anyway, I believe we are heading into the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Harrison, bring us in.
Full steam ahead then. We have a non-album track now for me. It's a funny one too, as you alluded to earlier. It's the incredibly cumbersomely titled "Look at You Over There, Ripping the Sawdust from My Teddy Bear," which was originally going to appear on Special Forces, but was held back off that album for whatever reason. It's this fun, laid-back, relaxing number, but it still maintains enough momentum to keep you from falling asleep. And the fact that he was able to get a melody chorus hook basically that good from that title is like a miracle in itself.
It is a good song, and it's weird and creepy and synthy. I might have my story screwed up here, but I think I remember reading that title did appear on early pressings of the album, even though the song wasn't on there. It was like a misprint.
That's what
so
I
like the title was known to fandom, and fandom was like, what in the hell is look at me over there ripping the sawdust from your teddy bear? Like, that's just, it's one of the craziest titles he's ever done.
Yeah, I think the only one that comes close to it is in length and cumbersomeness is that one was like, I can't remember what album it's off, but it's like, that was the night my pet came back to life to save my
dead
life
pet.
or something.
Yeah, that's from Zipper Catches Skin, I think. That was the day my dead pet returned to save my life. I think, is that Zipper Catches Skin?
I think so.
I think so. I think it was like a cream-colored cover. So, yeah.
Either way, great tune. A lot of that stuff does get highlighted on the.
I think that was the last track from Zipper Catches Skin, wasn't it?
The Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper has a lot of that stuff. I can't endorse that. I doubt it's still in print, but I can't endorse that box set more. It is such a great box set, Rhino Records. All right, that was a great pick, Harrison. All right, Marco, your number 3.
All right, my number 3, Pain from Flush to Fashion. I like this song a lot, and I totally think this is a classic sounding Alice Cooper song that could come off something like Welcome to My Nightmare. And this is another one of those songs that like I've sent to my friend being like, this is from, you know what I mean, Flush the Fashion. Check out this song, like if you like Alice Cooper.
Lyrics are great too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites off Flush the Fashion. It's very classic Alice Cooper sounding. I think it's pretty hooky too and catchy.
I agree.
And it has a little bit of an epic feel to it, especially the way it starts off with the piano and the pounding drums, and even the way the lyrics are delivered. It has some high pitched guitar in the during the song. I just think it's a great Alice Cooper song, regardless of what album it came off of.
I love that
So that's
song.
that's my number 3.
And he hates it.
Yeah, you know those two songs I mentioned that LeBrain likes on Flush the Fashion that I don't?
Which are Clones and Pain.
They
I
bore
love
me to
Clones too.
death. They bore me to death on an album full of these amped up new wave, fun, up-tempo numbers, and it's just every time I hear those two.
I'll tell you what I do like about Flush the Fashion, which is produced by Roy Thomas Baker, so it has a very Cars-like sound to it. And Candy-O by the Cars is one of my favorite albums of all time. So, you know, I do like that aspect of it, that it reminds me of the Cars. Those are some great picks, though. All right, so it's me now, right? With my number 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a 3 for Roses on White Lace from Raise Your Fist and Yell. I would almost call that thrash metal. Dun, 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 dun. You know, it's so heavy at the beginning. I loved the horror years of Alice Cooper. I love the lyrics. They're just pure splatter movie. In my eyes, blood drops look like roses on white lace. They won't wash away. So dead upon the bed, still searching for your head. That's a love song from Alice Cooper. So that made 3 lists, didn't it?
Yeah, refresh my memory. Did Marco pick that one or
I
not?
think
No,
Holman did.
Yeah,
I almost put it
Holman.
on my list actually.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if Marco did.
I think that's one of Alice's heaviest tunes.
I thought I had one from Raise Your Fist and Yell, and that was the one, and I didn't end up putting it on my list.
Well, there you go. I was hesitant about that song because it's kind of almost extreme for Alice. You know, that's the thrashiness of it. And I also picked like a number of other tunes that for my runners up, you'll find out. But you know, it could have gone many ways. So now we're into number 2 with Harrison.
Okay, I mentioned that Special Forces is my favorite, so we actually are going there this time. And I could have picked any of the songs except for the first 2 because they were ineligible. But the one I went with is the Skeletons in the Closet. It's, of all the new wave songs he's done, this is easily the most Oingo Boingo of them, down to the skeleton motif. It's this very atmospheric, creepy number. You get these circus-style keys that pop up at times, you know, in the intro and about the halfway mark. And it amps up a little at the halfway mark too, so to sort of keep it a bit fresh. And then for the finale, you get these soft oohs as it comes to its crescendo, where Alice just sort of cuts off and does one of his in-character moments, you know, just out of nowhere. I just really like it. It stands out on Special Forces, an album which has a lot of songs which stand out to me.
It's your favorite album. Bound to do that, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's great. Good pick, Harrison. All right, Marco, what's your number 2?
My top 2 songs are really weird picks.
Oh, good.
But they've actually both already been mentioned. My number 2 is Skeletons in My Closet from Special Forces. I
Wow.
love Special Forces. And I could have picked a few songs off of it. I think the whole album's pretty obscure, so you probably could even pick if there even was a single off that.
Well, there was
album.
one single, one cover, so those 2 were ineligible, but everything else was good.
But that song in particular, it's just got a really weird hook to it. It's got like this cool, almost like medieval organ sounding thing on it, and Alice's voice is really soft, and it's got the cool bass line in it. It's a fun song. It's kind of the lyrics are kind of goofy, but I just it's a standout one for me from Special Forces. And when you're talking about like a list of obscure songs, it's an obscure song from an obscure album that I just like a lot. It's one of my first things I thought of when we discussed this list.
It's an underrated album. deserves more attention. I think it's the strongest of the 4 Blackout albums, personally. Although I do have a soft spot for Dada, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to other people like I would Special Forces. All right, my number 2 is a song that Marco picked early on from Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. It's a song called Guilty.
Nice.
It's like the hardest rocker, or maybe even the only real rocker on Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. I find it to be the spiritual successor to Escape from Welcome to My Nightmare. So I find it to be like the same kind of upbeat, classic rocking song. And I love the lyrics. I pointed out the one in particular. Wake up the neighbors with a roar like a teenage heavy metal elephant gun. That's a mouthful, but I love it. Only Alice could come up with that. He seems to, even as he's aged, he seems to have always been able to tap into some kind of like teenage angst, you know? Even later in the 80s, Teenage Frankenstein, you know? And he doesn't sound like an idiot trying to sound like he's saying, I'm a teenage Frankenstein. Meanwhile, he's in his 40s at that time. But he doesn't sound like a jackass, you know? He sounds legit. You want to pump your fist and get behind Alice with his teen angst. I don't know how he does it. The guy's timeless. Wouldn't be surprised if he's an alien. Anyway, why don't we take a quick break before we go into the number 1? Because I wanted to play a song, and I'm sure Marco can guess which one it is. It's a song called Say It Like You Mean It by Slam Glory, featuring Marco's uncle, Ray Doria, on lead vocals. And I just want to take a break because, as you guys may know, I lost my glasses, and I'm wearing a backup pair, and they're causing me a bit of a headache, so I need to take a break. So we will be back in 4 minutes and 32 seconds with our number 1 Alice Cooper picks. All right. See you in 4.
Everyone's talking about change, and I think that time for change is now. Say it like you mean it. Get up off the ground. Say it like you mean it. Turn your top being kids around. Drop down and retreat it. Turn your life around. Show them you can do it. Show them you're alive. Say it like you mean it. Get up off the ground. Say it like you mean it. Turn your top being kids around. Drop down and retreat it. Turn your life around. Show them you can do it. Show them you're alive. Do it.
Oh, I love that song. It's a great tune. And
Me too.
I don't know how easy it is to get a copy of Raw Meat Volume 3 these days, but seek it out. Look it up on Discogs.
Yeah, Raw Meat Volume 3. I don't think it's that hard to get off of like eBay. I know because like my uncle has like one, but I got a copy off eBay a few years ago. I think I paid like $20, $30 or something like this.
It's not so bad for a rarity.
Yeah, the Slam Glory Say It Like You Mean It cassette sold on betterontape.com for like 250 American or something.
Yeah,
And that's
that I
think,
don't have.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen that sell online. I actually have, I think, 2 copies of it. 2 or 3, but I think I'm missing the shell from one of them, so it's just the cassette. Yeah.
Maybe you can talk them into doing some kind of digital reissue.
They did actually. There, you can buy. I believe you can buy the album on Reverb Nation.
I will look. Okay.
And they sold, and it actually has some other demos that they didn't put out on the cassette.
Cool.
Yeah, and there was like a 20th anniversary CD, but it was super limited. I have it somewhere, but it was very, very limited. Like it wasn't even for sale. I don't like it. I think it was just for friends and family or something like this. But it was actually very professionally well done.
Sounds like the Leafs might have scored. And thanks to everybody for watching during the playoffs. I appreciate that too. And to address Kevin here, yeah, like we raced along today, but I did tell stories, right? Like, I don't know why we raced along so fast. I was kind of surprised myself how quickly it was going. I haven't done a Nigel Tufnell top 10 in a while. I'm not used to balancing lists of 11 with guests of 3. It's all numbers, and I'm not very good at math. But we did race along, but we've had a great night. I've really enjoyed all of your picks, and I was surprised to see so many commonalities. But without further ado, we got to get to the number 1, and of course our runners up.
Yeah.
So
not only was I surprised to see so many commonalities, but I was surprised to see so many similar albums picked, but with different songs as well.
You know, I'm not 100% surprised that the first 2 albums have not got a look-see, and I don't think they will in the number 1 spot. What else? You know, let's just
Lace
quickly.
and Whiskey won't appear, will it?
Lace and Whiskey has not appeared. From the Inside has not appeared. $1 Billion Babies is probably every. No, wait. Holland picked Sick Things. Holland picked Sick Thing. School's Out has not appeared.
Yes, it has.
It has it?
Oh, Blue Turk. Yeah. And I think Trash and Last Temptation.
We'll get there.
Ooh, interesting.
Honorable mentions.
And Detroit Stories. Those are the ones that we haven't touched upon.
And Along Came a Spider.
Oh, yes, Along Came a Spider. That album just always slips away on me.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget about it. Maybe. Yeah. This is exactly. Oh, no. Oh, no. Are you guys Jeopardy freaks?
Nope.
Matea Roach is our Canadian hero. She has finished her Jeopardy streak. I think she was at 22 wins. That's unfortunate. We were really rooting for her. Damn.
Looks like it's some Weird Al tonight.
Sorry. Oh, I lost on Jeopardy. I get it. I get your joke. Anyway, I've been delaying too much. Let's go.
Well, I'll give you the honorable mentions, I guess, first. The honorable mentions are important because there are, as you said, some albums that haven't been mentioned, and they don't appear on my main list, but they contribute like 1 or 2, sometimes some of them 2 here, and that's important. So I'll start, it's 11, I'll start with Cleansed by Fire from The Last Temptation.
Good pick.
This one was actually number 11 on my list, and I didn't have Aspirin Damage because Flush the Fashion is the obvious pick for me. I want to go something more obscure, but in the end I was like, it's the boring pick, but I have to put Aspirin Damage on there. So Cleansed by Fire, I really like the bounce in the chorus, just like burn it up, burn it down, burn this whole thing to the ground. I like it when choruses like bounce like that lyrically and they like fit nicely. Hits the spot for me. Then my Special Force, like I could have picked, the rest of Special Forces and Flush the Fashion for my honorable mentions, but I've only picked one from each. So from Special Forces, it's Prettiest Cop on the Block.
Okay, that's a good tune. Yep.
Yeah. I like how it's just like this unrelenting sort of driven song, vocally driven song. From Flush the Fashion, my honorable mention is Nuclear Infected, another one with a fun chorus. Then we get to the slightly more obscure stuff with I'll Still Be There, a bonus track from Along Came a Spider.
Yes. Yep.
My Hey Stupid honorable mention is Snakebite. I was really tossing up between Snakebite and Dangerous Tonight, but Dangerous Tonight won.
They're kind of similar.
Yeah, which is why it was so hard to pick. Another one from The Last Temptation, Bad Place Alone.
Yep.
Another one,
Blood Brother. That's a great tune. It's got that almost like a West Side Story kind of vibe to it. Hey, Blood Brother. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Another one from Along Came a Spider with Catch Me If You Can. Mm-hmm. Then from Welcome To, this one might be kind of cheating because it sort of samples some of the instrumental melodies from other more well-known songs. It's The Undertour.
I almost picked it, but I felt it was cheating. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. It's got like this classical. It's an instrumental, so you get this.
You know what it is? Honestly, Harrison, do you know what it is? That is an end credits. That is an end credits theme. That's what it is.
Yes.
It reprises all of the themes from both albums.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it's literally like John Williams doing his 10 minutes at the end of the Star Wars movie.
100%. That's exactly what it is, and that's all Bob Ezrin as far as I'm concerned. And because it's led by the piano, he goes from melody to melody on the piano. Anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting, but I guess that's kind of
that was a very good point to bring up because I wasn't going to because I didn't realize that. Then from Dada, Fresh Blood. Mm-hmm. Then from Paranormal, Fireball.
There you go.
The highlight for this one for me is the classic Hammond organ sounding organ, basically, that pops up at times in the background.
Ironically, for a song called Fireball, it does evoke Deep Purple.
That was the connection.
And I also love that echoey vocal, that kind of distant echo. Fireball in the sky, Love it.
It's sort of like modern without being like your cliched modern song. It's sort of like a bit more innovative. And my last one, I'm going to preface this by saying there are far better Alice Cooper songs out there. This one's not bad, I put it on here in the honorable mentions because I think it works a lot better than it probably has any right to. And that is from Welcome to My Nightmare. It's What Baby Wants.
No! No! I hate that song. It's the one song in that album that I truly hate.
It's a novelty, but I think as far as novelty songs go, it's not too bad, all things considered.
I can't fault you, man. I mean, like, what am I going to say? I hate it because Kesha's on it. That's the truth. I'm being honest here. I can't stand Kesha.
I think she made a decent backup harmony for Alice, actually.
Yeah, I suppose. It just could have been any other singer as far as I was concerned. Any other singer. But anyway, that's just me. Do you want to all go around and do all our runners up before we do number one? Or do you want to do number one?
I'll leave it to you guys.
Marco, do your runners up.
Okay, so I had Roses on White Lace
Ha!
from Razor Fist and Yell. That was the one that I thought was on my list, but I guess it was just edged out. I also like Big Apple Dreamin', the opening track off of Muscle of Love. I could have picked anything else from Flush the Fashion, like Model Citizen or something like this, or Headlines, or like anything. I could have picked and would have been on there as well. The one track that I almost had on my list, but then I found out was a single, was the song Bed of Nails from Trash. Now, the reason when I think of Trash, I think of Poison, right? And like I wasn't around back then, so like I don't know. I didn't know that Bed of Nails was on the radio. I don't think I've ever heard it on the radio.
That's I don't think that single performed, because the ones I remember are Trash, House of Fire, and what's the ballad?
Poison.
Only my heart.
And Poison too. Poison was a huge song.
Sorry,
right?
Poison. Yeah, Poison, House of Fire, and Only My Heart Talking. Those were the three that I remember performing. Bed of Nails might have been like one of those regional singles, like only in Australia or something.
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
a funny thing about Bed of Nails in Australia. I don't like Bed of Nails. That's not the funny thing. A Fistful of Alice. As you know, you buy the Japanese edition, you get all the bonus tracks, Clones, No More Mr. Nice Guy, maybe a third, I'm not sure.
There's three, yeah.
14 to 17. Now, the UK edition has 14 tracks with No More Mr. Nice Guy being in the variable slot. The Australian edition has 14 tracks with Bed of Nails in the variable slot instead of No More Mr. Nice Guy. But if you walk into a CD shop in Australia, they all import the UK version with No More Mr. Nice Guy, which is my preferred version because I don't like Bed of Nails as much. But yeah, it's just funny that we have our own domestic edition, but we import the UK edition for some reason.
So
but anyway, continue.
Okay, never mind.
Away from your pick.
I just wanted to confirm that Bed of Nails is on the Japanese version, which it is, which is the one I have. So I'm not missing anything.
I've never heard it on the. I saw Alice Cooper live. I don't think he played it live, so like I wasn't aware that it was a single until I looked it up on Discogs. I think is where I saw like, oh, it's a single, so I left it off. But that was just one. Like I just think it's just really good, kind of like pop hair metal. To me, it's just as catchy as Poison, and I like that was an early Alice Cooper song that grabbed me when I was like in high school and stuff like this, right? So, and that was one that I never knew existed until I listened to Trash, and that's why I didn't know it was a single or it was whatever. So I kept it off my list on purpose. But that would have been it would have been like my number 11, Bed of Nails.
Yes. Sorry to go back to Fistful of Alice for a second. Apparently, Alice also played an 18th song that night, Hey Stupid, and it hasn't been released in any form. I don't know how true that is, but apparently he did, which would have been interesting.
Could probably look it up on setlist.com. They would
it is on setlist.com listed, but like I don't know the.
Sometimes, Harrison, it's a matter of one song. There were audio issues and they couldn't use it. Sometimes,
maybe it was especially the closer.
That's before everything has gone totally digital. So you can always have tape issue.
Yeah.
All right, my runners up.
Would have been nice to hear Hey Stupid done by the 1994 Alice, but
Yeah.
There was sorry, I just want to throw this out there real quick because that reminds me of there was a Kiss show in I think Largo, Maryland in '76 from the Alive era, and the Cobo Hall shows, all 3 nights were professionally filmed, like pro shot.
Mm-hmm.
The Largo, Maryland '76 show has the encore. There's 3 songs they played during the encore that have been circulated, and they're professionally filmed from that Largo '76 show in color, pro shot, different angles, all kinds of like the audio is great, everything. But the rest of the night is missing. It's only the encores that for some reason have been circulated. So I don't know if that show has ever been released. The Cobo Hall shows definitely have. One of them was on the Kissology Volume 1. But that's if you ever want to check out that era, check out 76 Largo. I believe it was Largo. They had a built-in video system. But only those 3 songs were ever circulated. So it's the opposite thing that what you're talking about is it sounds like that song was the encore and it wasn't circulated. This is the opposite. Only the encores were circulated.
Wow. Well, that's cool.
I'd also love if we got we're also filming this one tonight from Live Evil. But
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready? This is my runners up list. And I went a little
just
bit.
the track list to the life and crimes of Alice Cooper?
No, no. Okay. So from Last Temptation, which I'll show off the comics one more time because why not? There's my Last Temptation comics. I picked Sideshow and Nothing's Free. Nothing's Free has a real $1 Billion Babies vibe to it, doesn't it? Prince of Darkness, which I believe was on Raise Your Fist and Yell. But it might not really qualify because it might have been on a soundtrack, kind of giving it wider exposure. Life and Death of the Party, love that song. Alma Mater from School's Out. It's a bit on the goofy side. It's almost like a novelty, but I do like it. For Britain Only from the For Britain Only EP. Kind of a basic track, but enjoyable. From Hey Stupid, Wind Up Toy, which brings the character of Steven back into the story after being absent for many years. From the Hollywood Vampires, We Gotta Rise. It's kind of goofy, but I love it. From the early years, this one is definitely disqualified. Reflected, which later became Elected. But it's different enough that it's its own song. But similar enough that it disqualifies. Nobody Likes Me, which is, again, a novelty, but I like it. From Muscle of Love, Working Up a Sweat. And from the Iron Eagle 2 soundtrack, probably disqualified if we were using Harrison's rule because it's a cover. I Got a Line on You. So there are my runners-up. All right. We've delayed enough. Let's do number 1.
All right. You said you had a tie, so that was giving me permission to do a tie. These are both from Dirty Diamonds.
Ooh.
The first one is Steal That Car with its insanely catchy riff.
Very punky, I felt.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, and like we talked about, the entirety of Dirty Diamonds has this very classic rock sound to it, and that's prevalent here. But you get these keys that come in for the chorus, and those are very welcome because I love keyboards. You know, it's got a simple but effective hook. I like the lyrics that he does. He basically throws in all these car brands, you know, makes it work within the melody easily.
He's a lyrical genius.
And then the other pick, which is sort of like, this is probably one of the most obscure, probably the most obscure song on my list. Actually, Sawdust from Teddy Bears, probably more. Anyway, I'll just get to it. It's it was only available on it's a bonus track. It was only available on one Russian edition of Dirty Diamonds and some promo copies of it, where it replaced the Doo-Doo Stand.
Yeah, I don't like that song with Exhibit.
Yeah, it's The Sharpest Pain.
You don't have it.
Yeah, and this is sort of like the ultimate Alice Cooper deep cut for me. So that's why it sort of like exists in a transcendental state of this list. You know, I'm obviously going to pick it, so it sort of goes without saying. But it's got this really epic chorus. Like the verses are a little bare bones compared to some of the other songs on here, but they set up the chorus and they ramp up to it really perfectly. And it's one of the most epic choruses in Cooper's discography, I think. Oh, it's one of my favorites for sure. So, yeah, a very rare one as well.
The Sharpest Pain.
Yeah, it was on YouTube, but it's not anymore. So,
damn it! You know what that means. I'm gonna have to order something on import again. Because my Alice Cooper collection is pretty good, but it is far from complete. There's a lot of stuff I don't have, and there's one. All right, Marco, what's your number 1?
My number 1 was mentioned somewhere. I've heard it come up a couple of times, but it's Fresh Blood from Dada. I picked it because it's weird and it's not typical Alice Cooper, but it hooks me somehow. And it's the same thing with Skeletons in My Closet. It's got an interesting melody to it. It has this kind of like merengue or calypso horn or something going on in it, but I love that. I love that. It almost sounds like an old cell phone ringtone or something, you know, or like an old computer game. Same with Skeletons in My Closet. They both kind of have like an old computer game feel to it for some reason. But I just think it's like super catchy. I just like the vocals. I like the lyrics. I can't even explain why I like it. I just like it so much. And it's just, I think it's pretty obscure from a pretty obscure Alice Cooper album. So that was my number 1. I mean, I could switch that with Skeletons in My Closet. Those 1 and 2 could be 2 and 1. You know what I mean? But Fresh Blood, I heard it a few times tonight already. And it's definitely my number 1, like obscure Alice Cooper song.
Dada has had a little bit of love tonight. Yeah.
And the Blackhead era. So this is what it's
Yeah.
like to not feel outnumbered. I like this feeling.
Well, I think one of the things that is really key here is that Alice Cooper has so much quality stuff, you know?
Which is why this show exists.
Right. And I also think that he's the kind of guy that you might not necessarily like an album, but you never hate an album. I don't really think there's such a thing as hating an Alice Cooper album. I really don't.
No.
Because there's always merit. There's always lots and lots of merit. He's never done crap. I forgot to mention Along Came a Spider in my runners up. I listened to that song twice today. It is brutally heavy, and just at the end when he's just letting it loose, I am the spider, you know, that's just vintage Cooper. Like when I say vintage Cooper, I mean like almost like vintage 80s Cooper. My number one is from my favorite Alice Cooper band album, and it is Public Animal number 9. It is just raucous. It's got that nice, cool 70s piano kind of anchoring it. I love the lyrics. Me and Jimmy ain't never gonna confess. We cheated at the math test, carved some 30 words in our desk, and now it's time for recess. Love it. I love it. Only Alice Cooper could make a song about like grade school sound badass. He does, though. He makes it sound badass. And it's got that, hey, 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 yeah. The chorus is just, or is that even a chorus? No, that's just a refrain.
Reminds me of Hey Stupid.
It is like there's elements in common. There's an anthemic quality to Public Animal number 9, but at the end, he just kind of lets it all go with the lead vocals. It just becomes him like, you know, and yet it's still coherent.
That's more like a grade schooler.
It's still coherent, though. It still makes sense. It's still, I don't know. I can't praise Public Animal number 9 enough. I have a lot of really good memories of the School's Out album. I can tell you exactly when and where I got it and first heard it and all that stuff. And that was one of those songs that made an impact on me. And I think one of the things about School's Out that really impacted me was I got it just before my final year of high school. And what is that album all about? Well, it's about graduation. It's about the song Alma Mater. You know, it's about you're never going to see these people again. That's how high school works, you know? And I was really kind of feeling that, like, man, this is my last year. This is my last year that I'm going to be friends with this guy and this, you know? And it just kind of hit me. It became a serious album for me that summer. And I honestly love every song on School's Out. I know that it's not one of Marco's favorites from the classic Alice Cooper band era, but it's got to be somebody's, so it's mine.
I'm not too fond of the production, but when
No.
you get the songs done well, like in a live setting or elsewhere, I think they're real good.
I am going to read off. Kevin Simister is dropping his top 11 list right now. I'm going to read these off. So, from Kevin Simister, a.k.a. Buried on Mars, a.k.a. Canadian Grooves. Here we go.
He Who Hates Bon Jovi.
He Who Hates Def Leppard.
And definitely.
Here we go. Number 11. There's Lace and Whiskey getting a showing.
All
It's
right.
hot tonight. Time to Kill. Raise Your Fist
That
and
was in
Yell.
Poland, yes.
Okay. Here's a good one. This is a fun song. Inmates, We're All Crazy from the Inside. This is a song that made my runners up. I didn't mention it with my runners up because we talked about it in our discussion, but this was one of my runners up. Big Apple Dreamin' Hippo from Muscle of Love. Their Second Coming from Love It to Death. This one I don't consider a deep cut because I know he's played it live a number of times. Like, for example, it's live on Special Forces.
That's what, yeah.
But
With an apostrophe 81.
we can't disqualify Kevin because he's not on the show. So, oh, look at that. Some love for Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. Marco's pick. I think Guilty and Escape are like so equal to each other. I could only pick one. There's a good song from Eyes of Alice Cooper. I agree. I overlooked that album, but he's right that Novocaine is a good tune from that album. Here's a song that I forgot about, but he's right. That's a good album. And there's no weak tracks on it. And look at that.
Mhm.
Harrison, a song you didn't pick, but from your favorite album.
I could have easily picked it, but I had to limit myself to one on the list, one on the honorable mentions.
That's a great list. I love that we share some love, but then he's got some of his own that came out of nowhere, like Novocaine.
Yeah, he brought up Eyes, Lace, and Whiskey, some of these things from the inside that we didn't touch on.
Yeah, so he killed a couple of, and also none of us picked anything from the original Welcome to My Nightmare.
Oh yeah,
because really it's hard. It's like, is Escape a deep cut? Well, for me personally, it's not. For me, that's like the song.
Yeah. The thing is, when you have a concept album, can anything really be called a deep cut?
I don't know.
If it's telling a story.
I mean, I could pick opening tracks from albums like I Am Made. What is it? I Am Made of You. Is that the name of the song? Did I get that right? From Welcome to My Nightmare. It's an opening track, though. Is it a deep cut? I don't know.
I want to challenge you just a little bit, Mike, on your number one. Not seriously. But what's interesting about Public Animal number 9 is one of the very first music DVDs I ever bought. I was a kid. I bought a music DVD, and it was like I had Alice Cooper Welcome to My Nightmare on DVD. It was like the full performance. And I had this like video EP, and it had 3 tracks on it. And it had Under My Wheels, I'm 18, and Public Animal number 9.
Really?
And they filmed a video of it. And I think it's one of those old, like, they just were in front of a green screen and they just had psychedelic things going on in the background. But that was one of the tracks off that video EP that I bought. I remember specifically because I very well remember those 3 songs off that EP, that video EP, whatever it was. I bought it at like Zellers or something, and it wasn't very expensive. And it only had 3 songs, no interviews, nothing. It was just 3 songs, start to finish, and that was it.
I remember Much Music used to run a video very similar to what you're describing with the original Alice Cooper band very early on. Would have been Love It to Death or Killers era. And it was a green screen or blue screen back then, I guess, with psychedelic images behind it. But I cannot remember which video.
Must have been I'm 18, maybe.
Might have been
or Under My Wheels, or Public Animal number 9.
It definitely was not Public Animal number 9, but probably I'm 18. And then there was a very similar video for Paranoid by Black Sabbath with the exact same thing with the weird images in behind. And those were just them miming in the studio, really.
Yeah. So it's still like obscure. It's a deep cut for sure, but it's just interesting that one they actually performed. I think it was lip synced. It wasn't live.
Right.
But it was in front of a blue screen, and they have.
If I was going to disqualify my Schools Out pick, then I would replace it with Blue Turk, and then everybody's happy. And I also love Gutter Cat versus the Jets too. And again, there's his Broadway influence coming out, and not for the first time. There's one tune on either Easy Action or Pretty's for You where he references West Side Story. There's Uncle Meat. Okay, so apparently we're doing a Nigel Tufnell top 10 Tenacious D deep cuts. Apparently, I'm being told. So there we go. I guess we're doing one of those. Well, gentlemen, that wraps it up. Anything else you want to say about the mighty Alice Cooper?
Keep on rocking, Alice.
Yeah, just keep on rocking. Like, I can't believe how consistent and frequently he's been releasing albums. Like, he has not stopped. He's touring right now.
And I want that Hollywood Vampires live album you recorded.
That I recorded.
Not you, Alice. I'm talking to Alice here. Because they mentioned they recorded one at Montreux a few years back, and that they plan to release it. There's already one live video of Boogeyman Surprise from it, but I want the whole thing.
There might be holdups regarding the current situation, which I don't want to address. But I do love that Hollywood Vampires Rise album. I gave it a good solid listen today.
I love it as well.
I consider those Alice albums. Like, he sings most of the songs. So anyway,
I didn't pick it for this list because I considered it a separate entity. Plus, the list would be even harder with all of that stuff on there. But you're lucky because you have the Japanese Rise with a live album attached.
I have the Japanese of both the albums by Hollywood Vampires and the iTunes bonus tracks for the first one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Marco, anything else you want to say about the mighty Alice?
No, just he was always somebody who was on my bucket list of artists to see. I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, and I got to see him in 2006. I bought tickets for Heaven and Hell with Dio. And
yeah.
I had no idea that Alice Cooper was opening until I got there that night, because I think on the ticket stub, I think it just said Heaven and Hell. I don't think it said with Alice Cooper. And I literally showed up and Alice Cooper was opening with Eric Singer on drums.
Yeah.
This was like 2006, I think, in Hamilton.
Oh, there's
And I was just
that's from
nice.
that tour. The 2006 tour was Dirty Diamonds, I believe.
I was super
Yeah, probably.
excited because I was not expecting to see Alice Cooper when I went to go see Heaven and Hell. So that was awesome.
There's your answer. Alice Cooper Beat Club on YouTube. That's the psychedelic back screen. Believe that's also where Sabbath recorded that Paranoid video, was on Beat Club. What was I going to say? Go see Alice live. I've seen him twice. I saw him on that 2006 tour, and I saw him in the late 90s at Lulu's Roadhouse in Kitchener with Reb Beach on guitar. And it might have been Eric Singer on drums on that tour too. I'd have to look it up to be certain. But I definitely saw him with Eric Singer on that tour, and that was a thrill for me. That was with Helix opening, and Helix are huge Alice Cooper fans. So that was like, and I'm a huge Helix fan, so that was an awesome double bill. Well, that about wraps it up. Let's do the round where we talk about what we got going on. Marco, you are so busy with the Contrarians. I'm getting emails twice daily about new Contrarians comments on the Contrarians Patreon page, which is only $7 a month, people. So can you tell us any spoilers?
We just uploaded Genesis Duke.
Okay.
So that one's up on YouTube as of now. His Dark Horse album. I know Martin did Peter Gabriel episode, which is in the can. We also have a Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor in the can, Dark Horse album. We have a Vinnie Vincent discussion. Yeah, which was interesting. So that's going to be coming out at some point. There's a bunch of stuff lined up. So
that's timely with that Creatures of the Night box set announcement too.
Yeah, and Creatures Fest.
Yeah.
In the States.
Yeah, lots of Vinny
stuff that's going on.
Lots of Vinny vibes right now. Yeah. And Harrison, what do you got going on?
Not too much out of the ordinary as usual, but if I have interpreted your message from last night correctly, I might be going back to the old camera and plastic bricks.
Right. Yes, we're talking about some artwork for the T-Bone series. Yes, we have some new installments that are going to be coming soon. Sorry, Marco, I did interrupt you there. What were you about to say?
I don't. Oh, timely if it comes out soon, but there's a bunch of stuff in the can, so it might not be as timely when it eventually comes out. That's all.
What else I wanted to ask you? I want to ask if there's any Mystique news.
There's supposed to be. I think by the end of this month we'll have a release date, and I think it'll premiere. The film's finished. It's been finished for a little while, but I think it'll be in a theater in September or October. But I think the date will be confirmed by the end of this month. It was supposed to be confirmed by next week, but some life circumstances got in the way. So next week we won't be confirming the date. So sometime I think by the end of this month, at least by early June, I think there'll be a date for.
Will this be a Toronto theater?
It'll be Hamilton.
Hamilton. Okay.
Yeah, that's where the band was from.
Okay.
So it'll debut in Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully September, October, like fall.
All right.
Yeah.
If I can make it, I will.
Awesome. I'd love to see you there.
Well, I'd love to see the film. So let's get our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Thank you.
Eric just wants to say that he's glad to see you again. Way to class the joint up. And yeah, you did class the joint up with your awesome list tonight. I'm really, really happy about these picks, and I've got lots of re-listening to do. Well, boys, that's about it. Sorry?
Make that money.
Make that money. All right. I'll take us out with another tune. This is a one that we debuted a couple of weeks ago from my buddy Rob Zabo, band called Plasticine with Bones and Clothes, featuring Steve Strongman on lead vocals. So enjoy Plasticine, Bones and Clothes, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Have a great night and a great weekend.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you. Take care.
See you.
Bones and Clothes, thanks.